Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville. Cultivating our body's resilience and inner silence and its application to all aspects of your life. Let's become enlightened and enjoy the power of intuitiveness and creativity. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Colette Darville, and this is Yin Yoga Lifestyle. So now let us take a deep meditative breath. Inhale, so, exhale, hum. Andrea Tsakanikas is the founder and president of crewfacilities.com, a women-owned small business. Andrea's expertise in the property and facility management industries spans more than 3 decades. In 2014, Andrea launched crewfacilities.com, an organization that is retained by a variety of governmental and commercial agencies to manage their group housing and logistics. To date, crewfacilities.com has been awarded 64 governmental contracts, including the National Guard, Air National Guard, Coast Guard, and the Veterans Administration. The organization has played a crucial role during the COVID-19 pandemic, assisting many emergency management agencies with housing their healthcare workers and first responders. Andrea hails from a long line of female entrepreneurs, dating back to her great-grandmother on her father's side and her grandmother on her mother's side. As a serial entrepreneur, Andrea wants to give back to other women who either want to launch their own business or grow in their own corporate position. Thank you for joining us on Yin Yoga Lifestyle, Andrea.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. So I want to ask you, who or what inspired you to be a successful entrepreneur?
So that's a great question. So growing up, I know you mentioned I had a lot of amazing role models on both sides of my family, both my mother's side and my father's side. So I spent a lot of time as a little girl with both my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and they were both working women that loved being out and about. They didn't spend a lot of time at home. They loved their career, and they were very unique for that time. So I grew up watching them and learning from them. And as a child, all the way up until probably my 20s, I thought I was unique in not such a positive way. I always felt like I was very different from all of my other friends because I didn't learn how to do all the things their moms would do while they were home. You know, cooking and sewing and all the fun things that you do in the home. I learned how to work. So as I grew up, I realized that was actually a gift. And I realized that and said, wow, you know, I have these amazing, unique skills now because I learned that at a young age. And so that's part of why I'm so empowered to give back to other women as well, to be able to pass on the skills that I was lucky to be passed on as a young child.
Now, you built your current business from a nutshell, literally from a nutshell. What things helped you achieve the success you have today?
So for the current business, Crew Facilities, I actually started it in my bedroom, and it was a really fun challenge. I brought on, I was actually the first employee, and then I brought on another employee, and we both basically started it together and worked around the clock 24/7 because we manage all of the housing for these teams and personnel that run around the clock. We found that what we did in order to build the business was to do it in steps. So a lot of potential business owners have the fear of starting out a new company because they think they have to start out with a huge amount of working capital that, you know, is so daunting to, you know, for them and something that may not be attainable. And the way I always train and help other women to say, let's take this first step, I look at it as stepping stones or walking up a staircase. Start off in little bits, even if you're currently working a full-time job. Find a way to start part-time on the side and start building little by little. Bring in maybe one contract or one small client. And as you do that, then maybe you can put in or bring in a virtual person to help you and build your infrastructure and spend the money as you create income and revenue, like you're walking up steps. And that way you're not forced to make a drastic leap and have to worry about getting a huge amount of capital and leave your job. So we kind of coach on a lot of those skills or steps and what will work for that individual's current scenario.
Now, and this is, and we are talking about coaching here a little bit, and you're particularly supportive of women in business in leadership roles, and your foundation, Creating Women Leaders, is especially dear to your heart. So can we talk about this venture?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I found was most women, whether they want to grow in their current corporate position, let's say they're in, a job and they've always aspired to move up in the ranks and move into executive management, or somebody that's, already had their career and they always had a passion of opening their own little coffee shop or maybe just their own business. Everybody has a different path and everybody's in a different scenario. And what I found is when I sit down and discuss it with them, they all have one thing in common. They all have the word that comes out of their mouth that they use is but. So I want to do this. This is my passion. This is my dream. But. And I hear that so often. And that's what really inspired me to say, I want to launch this organization called Creating Women Leaders to help them to build the tools, the skills, the confidence, whatever it takes to get over the word but, to be able to really overcome and say, there really is no but. Now's my time. Life is short and we're going to make this happen, and to kind of help them release the fear to take that first step, because the but is really taking just one step. And once they take that first step, things just start opening for them. Everything seems to be much easier. It's that first step. I always use an example of, let's say your passion in life was to go skydiving, and you get up in the plane, you've dreamed about it your whole life. You get in the plane, the doors open, but you're holding on and you're white knuckling the side of the door. That's the but. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, and you just have to take the step out. And once you do, you're living the dream that you've, your entire life, that's all you thought about. And then all of a sudden you have that freedom and you're ready to go. You're there. You started. So that's what Creating Women Leaders is all about. We offer different tools and support and training to be able to make their dream a reality, whatever that may be.
Why do you believe it's important for successful women like yourself to mentor other women?
Because I feel like, as I was saying, when I was a child, I thought I was unique in a not so positive way, but I learned that I was unique in a very positive way. I feel blessed and lucky that I had training since a little girl from both sides of my family of women that taught me not to have that same fear. Like, I get motivated and inspired by challenges. So for me, I look for those challenges because they motivate me. I want to help other women to do the same thing. And maybe they're learning it later in life, but I feel like I'm passing on what my grandmother, great grandmother, mother, what they all did for me. I want to pay it forward and pass it along.
Yeah. You are a very unique person because, and I'm just going to give sort of a little research here, that many successful CEOs meditate. And I know you do too. Can you talk about the benefits and the importance of this practice for leaders in business?
Yes, I am normally, my normal persona is I'm very like type A. I have to be juggling 25 things. I move at the speed of light. I get bored very easily. I like minutia and lots of things happening because I work best that way. So I always believed that I could not meditate, that I could not quiet my mind. I could not, stay focused because my mind would jump all over the place. And over the last 2 years, I have read so much about how, for people like me, it is even more critical to learn how to meditate and to realize that I'm never going to quiet my mind ever,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I'm going to learn how to calm it and pay attention. And when I do kind of like lose that focus when I'm meditating, bring myself back. And over the last 2 years, it has completely changed my life. I don't get out of bed in the morning without meditating. And if there's ever a day that I do, it is noticeable immediately, to the point where even someone like my husband can see the difference in just the way I handle things. And just I'm a different person on the days I meditate, and when I don't, very different person. So it has
Uh,
changed my life. It has changed my
and
life.
you also uh, you also have different meditations, right? And
Correct.
you don't just meditate once in the morning, do you? You have a
No,
plan.
I have exactly. So depending on what I actually start at night. So the way I go to sleep at night is I kind of run through a little, I guess it could be called a meditation. I run through the day.
Hmm.
And what I do is I look at the parts of the day that I loved, and the parts maybe that I didn't love. And I actually put in a plan for the next day. So it's a lot from the law of attraction, where I'm actually almost like filming or creating the movie of what I want the next day to look like. So I kind of put that in place as a short meditation before I go to sleep at night. And I've noticed on the days that I do that, because I don't do it every single night, I notice on the days that, let's say I've had a challenging day and I go home and I think, okay, tomorrow's going to be a spectacular day. If I really work through that movie, I call, for the next day and plan the spectacular day, I truly find that it works. I
Yeah.
have a wonderful day. So that's part of the routine. The other routine is I start the morning, depending on where I am, where I feel what my body needs the most, I'll do a different meditation
Mm.
that's kind of focused on where I feel like my body's lacking or something that I really need to work on that day. And the last thing I do is, before I leave the house, I pull from one of two books, and I'm probably change soon, but either The Law of Attraction or The Secret. And I just open to a page. I've read both those books over and over again in the,
Hmm.
full form, but I'll open a page and read just wherever the page opens, and I'll read a few sentences. And that changes the way I feel as well, and puts me in a very different just feel for the day. It feels really good, really, really good. Even if I'm still feeling a little bit of anxiety, it takes it away.
Do any of your employees meditate?
Yes. What's really interesting is that I'm finding that more and more of the employees that come on board with Crew Facilities
Hmm.
come from different specialties, where some have been yoga teachers, some do teach meditation, some they're just
Mm.
very health conscious. And so what's happening is I feel like I'm drawing those people to me, but then they're also spreading it through to other people in my company. And outside of my company, I'm learning. I'm in a group of, I think I've mentioned to you before, a group of CEOs that meets once a month, and it's all men and two
Hmm.
women. The majority of it is men. And at first I thought they would make fun of some of the things that I do. They're all starting to ask me questions, and they want to know about the law of attractions. They want to know about meditation and yoga. So I think people see the change in you and they want to learn, well, what's working for them. Maybe I do need to know, what's
Yeah.
that about?
Well, and it's also too, you lead and show by example rather than saying to somebody, you need to do this. But what better
Exactly.
way is to show by example and show how you handle your day and how efficient you are through meditation and your yoga. Um, there are so many businesses one could start up. Women think, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe you start up this business, maybe you start that business. Are there any tips you could recommend to someone who's just starting on their entrepreneurial journey, apart from, you know, learning how to meditate, some of the
Hmm.
practical things?
For determining what they want to do, or to
Yeah.
launch the business they already know
Yeah, what they want to do. Because
what they
I
want
mean,
to
there's a
do.
lot of confusion. I mean, there's a lot of women out there and men who really want to start a business, but they don't really know what to do. What would you advise them?
So the biggest piece of